Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melody. This channel is called Melody Ever After, and today we are talking about the horrors of BookTok. Oh my god. There's a hair in my mouth. And you might be asking yourself, what is BookTok? Most likely, if you are a feminine person around 25 years of age and have a TikTok, you already enjoy BookTok, because most everyone does apparently. If you don't know what that is, take a look at your local Books A Million or Barnes & Noble and they will most definitely have a BookTok section. BookTok is essentially a side of TikTok where people convene over books they read, but not just any books, usually the worst books known to mankind. Many people argue that BookTok in a way has revived the hobby of reading. Yay, literacy! But it has also given us a very concerning literary phenomena known as, I don't even know what to coin this. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the problems with BookTok. The first issue with BookTok is what I would like to call the industrial book complex. You know how Marvel pumps out a new movie every single year and they're like 90% of the time ass, but everybody is like super hyped for it? This is quite literally what's going on in the literary universe. Especially with BookTok, which is popular for fantasy romance, dark romance, friends to lovers romance, mostly romance novels. And this is legitimately how these books are sold. Not by their writing quality, but seemingly how many tropes can we squeeze into one book to create this cliche amalgamation of smut and cringe. Oh no, we have to share a bed. I hate you, but I also love you. He's an emotionally unavailable billionaire with a tragic past, and I'm just a normal girl. He literally hits me every night, but he's kinda sexy about it. So you can probably see where this is going. A lot of these romance books have been labeled as dark romance books, and the tropes of sexy kind of cross some boundaries of abuse. I think the reason this happened is because people will follow very popular authors in this BookTok community who write romance novels, and I think they will follow them to an extent where it's like, okay, anything that this author puts out is gonna be amazing, and then the author is like, shit, how can I make this book hornier than the last book? That's a problem. Colleen Hoover is probably like the BookTok god who runs this realm of filth. Essentially, if you don't know who Colleen Hoover? If you don't know who Colleen Hoover is, she's the one responsible for the book called It Ends With Us, and also, I believe the sequel called It Starts With Us, because they're supposed to be flipped. Am I crazy? Essentially, it's about domestic abuse and a woman breaking the cycle, but the only problem is she really seems to romanticize the abuse part, and there was a whole, like, scandal with Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Baldoni over this movie that came out. I'm not even gonna go there, because that's not what I'm talking about. But if you want to know the extent of how bad this book is, not only does she allow this man to like beat her up and then also romanticize it, stop doing that. Women already do that. Women in abusive relationships already romanticize the men that hurt them. Quit normalizing it. What? But Colleen Hoover is also responsible for some pretty disgusting quotes in her books, like this quote that's talking about her newborn baby's testicle size. I guess that was supposed to be like fun and quirky. And then also saying that the main character had never felt more turned on than when he was smearing her in cow shit. I don't know what the context is there, and I'm really not sure if I want to know. But Colleen Hoover isn't the only author who has written books that should have never seen the light of day. Let's take a look at GM's Fairies Pounded by Produce. Here's where we start to get a little bit problematic in my opinion.
A lot of people keep asking if this is a VeggieTales fanfic. It's not, because fanfics are about characters, setting, or plot that already exist. Pounded by Produce is about two priests named Robert and Laurent that ultimately turn into a tomato and a cucumber because of a curse.
Because this is a book about a girl who, for some reason, knows two priests who have a lot of gay tension between them, but they obviously can't have sex because they're two gay priests, and then under the curse of a full moon, the priests are turned into a cucumber and a tomato, and they all have sex together. You see, this is not only freaking fucking flopping weird to me, but it's also really problematic because this is a literal smut book that has been inspired by the children's Christian programming VeggieTales. See, I think it's a little bit problematic. Okay, I'm not the most, like stickler person in the world. I'm not going to care. Like, obviously, look at my ghost posters back here. You can be a little bit sacrilegious as a treat, right? Something feels wrong about sexualizing children's cartoon characters in Christian media that inspires kids to be, like, better people. Something feels really freaking flopping frickin' weird about that to me. Maybe it's just me. Other books that should never have seen the light of day often fall into that dark romance genre. And dark romance essentially started out with like sexy mafia boyfriend and werewolf primal urge. But, this is like a whole new level because now it's just kind of like scary. If you don't know what I mean by that, let's take a look at one of the most recent BookTok incidents, which is Daddy's Little Toy by Tori Woods. Daddy's Little Toy is essentially about a man who's had a crush on his best friend's daughter since she was 3 years old! And he waits until she's 18 to pursue her. So I guess that makes it okay. It does not make it okay. That doesn't make it okay! Oh my god! Well, the author of this book, this has all came to light because the author of this book, Tori Woods, is a self-proclaimed Christian author. She's not a Christian book author, but she is a Christian. And she's also a mother from Australia. She was recently arrested because writing this book was considered CSAM. Thank fucking God, actually. Like, these sort of things should not have to be said. It's one thing to read the book Lolita because you hate Humbert, and the psychology of Humbert is like this despicable, like, train wreck kind of thing that makes your blood boil, and you read it because you feel that injustice for Lolita, you feel that injustice for that little girl. This is written for Humbert. This book is literally for him. Then you have your crazy list of books about, like, trees being sentient and Sasquatches being sentient and things being a lot more sensually sentient than I would prefer them to be. And I was a Wattpad teenager. I was an AO3 young adult. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of smut, especially if it's about your favorite characters or whatever. It's like a good time, okay? We get it. But I'm not trying to be a prude here. But a lot of the tropes in these books, from domestic violence to CSAM to bestiality, I feel like are perpetuating stereotypes that are traditionally challenged. We like, society is literally challenging porn right now. It, like, porn kills relationships, porn ruins your sex drive, it, you know, promotes, like, unhealthy work environments, it promotes child labor, it promotes sexual abuse, it promotes all sorts of crazy, freaking horrible things, and people are just now recognizing that. It's not any better to read about it, in my opinion. Like, it comes to a point where it's like, if you're reading that kind of material all the time, you got, like, level 47 brain worms, and you need to go to a therapist. The next big thing is speculative AI writing. These BookTok authors pump out like 4, 5, 6 books a year, it seems like. And I don't feel like that's a coincidence. Many people have noticed that a lot of these books have very, very similar verbiage over and over and over and over again. And it's probably because these authors are just feeding ideas for chapters into AI, asking AI to write these chapters, and then getting a result, minimizingly editing it, and then pumping it out for the world to see. And honestly, I hate that. I think that takes all of the integrity out of writing. So not only do we have all of these terrible stereotypes perpetuated in writing, not only are we encouraging bad behaviors and unhealthy sexual behaviors in these books, but now we are utilizing AI to write the books for us, taking away the integrity of all the authors who are actually writing their own books. Everything about this is, like, disgusting to me. Like, first of all, I was gonna say no shame, but depending on the books you read, full shame. Full shame.
If you're one of those girls, one of those girlies that's like, I like my books with a little bit of spice, and I like my coffee with a little bit of ice.
I am not gonna sit here and ridicule you and pretend like I didn't read Wattpad smut as a teenager. I'm gonna be real. But what I am saying is that if you think this is peak writing, get a grip, dude. So many people are like,
I love reading, it's encouraging me to read.
I do not feel like the BookTok trend is encouraging literary development for anybody. And speaking of literary development, that is going to bring me to my final point, my final qualm with BookTok. I was in Books A Million literally last week talking with one of the employees about their BookTok section, and, you know, like, we were just having a conversation. And the one thing they said to me is that 10, 11, 12-year-old girls come in with their parents and buy dark fantasy books with adult topics. Now, I'm gonna sound like a major hypocrite here, because did I read Wattpad as a teenager? Yes. Not 10, 11, 12 years old, I did not. But I also didn't have the audacity to go in with my mother and pick out a porn book. What are these kids on, dude? And the sad thing about it is that, just like regular porn, these books are mentally addictive, and I don't blame the kids. I'm fully blaming the parents. I'm fully blaming the adults for this. But the final entity that I am blaming for this is the actual artists and authors themselves. Because why is this book hardcore porn? This looks adorable. This looks like High School Musical, the graphic novel. Is BookTok doing more harm than good? In my opinion, yes. I think that between utilizing AI, pumping out horrible books filled chock full to the brim of cliches and stereotypes, and not to mention sometimes very problematic plot themes, is not good for anybody all around, especially not when we're marketing them in a way that makes them appealing to literal children. I don't know what else to say about this. This is disturbing to me. And I'm sure some of these books really hit the spot when you are looking for something a little spicy. I understand, I'm a girl's girl, I really am. But at the end of the day, liking something doesn't make it okay, and it doesn't make it good. And you have to recognize that as a person. Like me, I happen to like watching Has Been Hotel. And I'm gonna out myself right here. I like Has Been Hotel, and it's okay. But I have to recognize that it's not good. And I have to recognize that the people who made it are not good. And when you start to lose that little tiny kernel of honesty with yourself, that's when it starts to get bad. If you're one of the people who goes around wearing t-shirts that say,
I like spicy books,
you might have a problem. You might have an issue. And if BookTok has encouraged you to start reading, that's great. That's amazing. There's a lot of really popular books on BookTok that I don't actually think are bad. For example, Fourth Wing. I don't think that's a bad series. ACOTAR. A Court of Thorn and Roses. That's got smut in it. That's spicy. But I also think that it's probably a good series from what I know about it. I'm talking about the really problematic BookTok books. At the end of the day, my message to you is this. Read outside your comfort zone. Read what makes you happy. Read what's fun. But please, develop critical thinking skills. Recognize if something is problematic or dangerous to certain communities, and don't be silent about that. Speak out on it. My name is Melody. You've been watching my channel. It's called Melody Ever After. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you left me a like, or maybe a comment, or maybe a subscribe. If you didn't like this video, also leave me a like or a comment and tell me why. I'm fully ready to take the blaze on this one. I am fully ready to take some heat. You've been watching my channel. It's called Melody Ever After. Thanks for making it this far. Until next time.